My sister-in-law just tried to come up with one of these clever plans. Well, it turns out she made the biggest mistake of her life because she's not dealing with a rookie. She's dealing with somebody that can absolutely ruin her. Hey everyone, I was so excited to share my news about getting engaged to the love of my life, but I'm afraid that my excitement is about to be tarnished by my sister-in-law, Mariah. Well, I thought my life was going to be amazing because I was blessed with so many sweet and loving in-laws. I mean, it's kind of a rare thing to have such unproblematic people in your family, though I wasn't much used to all such sweetness and positivity. I know it sounds weird, but that's true because the earlier part of life was completely opposite to the life that I'm living right now. My parenting was kinda messed up, with crappy friendships and toxic exes, and I somehow managed to pass high school in this chaotic life, which had become so natural to me that I even stopped bothering about it. Well, it was something that I got used to for quite a while because every other teenager had experienced it once in a lifetime, until I met Martin. Meeting him was one such thing when the cycle of such things stopped. He was my senior and we met through common friends during my graduation years. He and his surroundings were so nurturing and healthy that it took a hell of an effort to get used to it. Most people cannot understand that, and that's completely fine, because it isn't easy to be receptive to good things in life when you've been through so many of those things which were quite draining and unacceptable. But it is wrong for me to assume that everyone and everything is going to be like that. Now, I feel like that might have manifested itself unintentionally when I came across my sister-in-law Mariah. I didn't know much about her before because my fiancé Martin had hardly ever mentioned her. If he had, it was casual, as if it was, I was not missing out on anything important when it came to her. And like their entire family, her existence was highly unbothered by them. I was a little shocked that they were so ignorant about her, though I could not bring it out because my questions were brushed off with vague responses. I did not push it much since it was uncomfortable for my in-laws, and I also did not want to spoil the vibe when it was always just so much cheery and party-like fun whenever we got together. When she was about to arrive, the happiness of my in-laws seemed to be superficial. Even a stranger could sense that they were not truly happy about it, but still, asking them would make them awkward, so I thought of seeing it by myself without preconceptions. I was only being warned by Martin not to get too close to her or get involved more than usual. She was only invited to attend our family functions and be the center of celebration, so our friends and other acquaintances would not question us about Mariah and her whereabouts. As far as I remember, she had hardly participated in Christmas or Thanksgiving celebrations. Martin feared that things might fall out of place or go wrong, and I waited for the right moment to know the reason behind his anxiety towards his sister, Mariah. After all, how long can I ignore her when she's soon to be my sister-in-law? Everything was fine for me when she came back. She was introduced to me, but there was not much information after that about where she had been or what she was doing. Even Martin was booked an apartment for her to stay there and paid in advance if required. She recently graduated from hotel management and is currently finding a job to pay for her daily life expenses. Interacting with her was fun and easy, until I saw the materialistic side of her. She looked concerned about how much I earned and spent money on other branded accessories, though it was a little bit, weird. At least I was relieved by the fact that instead of pretending to be modest, she was rather very outspoken and honest about it. And her family member clearly hated it, as did Martin, but he did not object. So, I once doubted that maybe she even only liked talking to me because I was a little more affluent than she expected. But I did not let the doubt get over me. While I was enjoying dinner, I offered her papaya salad, but she denied having it. When dinner was over, we poured a glass of wine and champagne, but she denied that too. It was a little surprising since she seemed like a pretty person. So what was stopping her from drinking? She only denied it, saying she did not feel like having alcohol. She rather opted for lime juice. I didn't judge her, thinking that I did not know her enough, so I gave her the benefit of the doubt and started to enjoy myself. When we reached home after dinner this time, I confronted Martin about why everyone tends to avoid her for so many years. She seemed pretty much fine to me, except she was a little upfront about money matters. But that could not be the excuse for avoiding her for so many years. Martin just sighed and he gave up. He then confessed that she had been accused of shoplifting and getting caught, for which our family was embarrassed among our social circle and other friends. They were already having a hard time dealing with the mess that she created, which tarnished their reputation. They were unwilling to forgive her, and on top of that, she had been involved in quite a fight due to her anger issues. So they had no choice but to send her away to the boarding school to stop the constant questioning of the people. He feared that she might not repeat history or just do something to cause us trouble. Martin had hardly any hopes from her that she might have changed in so many years. He refused to believe her, and he and her family were only tolerating her because she was apparently the heart of the family, and they could not ignore her during their get-togethers and special occasions when they had to portray themselves as a picture-perfect family. Update number 1. Oh my gosh, guys, I can't believe it. Just sit tight and listen, it's going to be a very interesting update. I wish I could say it was hot gossip, but could not because it's my family matter and I cannot sound mean by treating it as entertainment. It's serious, but you can entertain yourself and give some fruitful advice on the matter, keeping in mind that your advice might affect someone's feelings and their life decisions. I hope I can expect sensible advice from you, so here it goes. I was invited to my in-laws' anniversary party, and I found everyone at the party making toast and dancing, except for her. Well, I tried to find her everywhere. But she seemed a little sick that day, chewing on lemon and making frequent visits to the loo. I asked if she was okay, and she told me that her stomach was a little upset, which is why. I thought that she had diarrhea, but instead, when she excused herself, I found her puking. That is where I got suspicious of her. Chewing on lemon slices and skipping alcohol indicated one thing. I wanted to ask her, but was afraid of bringing it up. I thought of discussing this with Martin, but maybe she won't like it. So I tried to butt in a different way. I asked her if she was having any sort of infection. She denied it. Then I told her that I would call a doctor, and she instantly got worried. Well, I only questioned if she wanted me to tell her something that she could share, but she refused it, saying that she wanted some rest. So I called Martin to drop her off at home. I thought of giving her some time and asking her later, so I called the next day to see how her health was going, but she did not tell me anything either, so I decided to go meet her and visit her place with Martin. Though he was quite reluctant, I dragged him along. I reached her place unannounced and, well, as we taught her, someone else came out, and I was shocked to find Jim on the doorstep of my sister-in-law. Even he seemed surprised, and I had a little chat with him. He said that he was just her friend to meet him, and, well, we got a hint that Mariah might be involved with him. It was not something that anyone would want because he was my ex-boyfriend during high school, and I knew he was most of the time involved in something illegal or drug-related, so knowing the truth became more important for her and, his family's safety. When we met her, Martin, who wasn't interested in our conversation, it was easy to move away and ask her if she was pregnant. Her face gave off a look of everything. Even though she tried hiding it, I tried to console her by asking who the baby's father was. She didn't want to say that, and I asked if he had planned on marrying her or getting settled into the future. She could not answer that as well, saying that she was looking forward to discussing her pregnancy with the guy. I tried making her understand that she should not take that lightly because there would be multiple responsibilities and it would not be easy to bring up a child as a single mother. If something is bothersome, she could share. Along with that, I told her that in a few weeks her baby bump would be visible, and even I could not help her hide this fact from her family. So the sooner she decides to disclose this, the better it is for everybody involved, and she took it as a threat or an ultimatum, but I clarified that it was just a warning for her as well as her well-wisher. I then asked her if the father was the guy who just left, and her blank expression and silence said it all. But before she could decide how to disclose this, all of a sudden, I spotted Martin, who was already standing there, and we both feared that he might have listened to us, but instead he told us that he was ordering pizza online, and what toppings would we like to pick. I sensed through his tone that he had listened to our conversation, though, but he chose not to act on it right away. So when the doorbell rang, I rushed to the kitchen to fetch plates, and along with me I dragged him away from Maria to ask for help in order to confirm my doubt. And I asked if he knew what his sister had just confessed. Well, I admit I was wrong, because maybe my timing of asking him was too bad, because Maria, who had come to ask us for a change, now knows the truth that he knew everything. Oh, things went bitter with her, but the unexpected part was that I blamed for it was me. Maria believed I had already told Martin about her pregnancy, and that was the reason I brought him along with me, even though Martin tried to tell her that I had not told him anything. She said that he was siding with me because I was soon to be his wife. And now I'll tell everyone that she's pregnant without being married. She called me names and everything for betraying her just because she misunderstood everything. Meanwhile, Martin, enraged by Maria's disrespectful behavior towards me that had worsened the atmosphere, started throwing things at her. And she had also started accusing him and kept pushing him away from her home. She banged the door on our faces as soon as we stepped out of her house, and Martin threw the plant that hit her door and left with me. Because things had gone out of hand, Martin could not hold back and told everyone about Maria's pregnancy. I had to tell them that he was my ex who was into illegal deeds and had been arrested quite often because of that. Knowing that she was pregnant with a guy who had a criminal record, her parents reached her place, and this time she could not ignore them, standing at the place that she lives, and so she let them in. They all told her to go get herself, get rid of the baby, or else they would call the cops on her. Maria tried to blame me for trying to defame her in the family, but my in-laws did not pay attention to her, as they simply knew that she was in the habit of running into trouble. Maria had no choice but to give in to the last just to save herself from getting arrested. Though it was for her own good, how should I convince her to try to make things better between us than she had in mind? Guys, please suggest me. Top comments from the original post. OP, you did more than you were supposed to. You were quite worried about her, and you did because you listened to your instincts. You cannot choose how people react to your actions, but as long as your intentions are good, the results will always be the same as well. Don't worry, OP, you should give all her love and affection. Maybe she would realize someday that she was on the wrong path, and she'll soon get what you deserve. The love and respect from your sister-in-law. Comment number 2. Oh, come on, OP. How could you expect people to change so quickly? And even if she doesn't, at least you should change yourself and stop giving a darn about her. Let her be, and you better mind your own business. You cannot force people, what they should do or not. Her parents were already dealing with her, so you should just stay out of trouble and continue with what you've been doing for years. But now, if the damage is done, you could apologize and just stay away. Update number 2. Hey guys, I wanted to make things better with Maria, and luckily it got there. Even though I could not believe it, but it did. And I cannot wait to share this amazing experience with you. Maria has gone through with getting rid of the baby, and I went to meet her. But I could not because she started making a scene in front of everyone. Doctors and other medical staff who have observed her behavior suggest that we get some sort of therapy that would help her heal mentally and emotionally. Most women suffer from hormonal imbalances and side effects from pregnancy and other medications, especially in the case of getting rid of the baby. Along with that, it will also help her to move on in her life and her past relationships, and gladly it worked a lot. It took a few weeks, but the improvement was quite visible. This time, my entire family tried to make things better with Maria. They took a promise from Maria that she would not contact him again and that they would keep her pregnancy secret from their social circle and other acquaintances. Due to the change witnessed in her behavior, Everybody, including me, believed that Maria had moved on in her life and would not contact her ex again. Well, I somehow tried to convince Martin to do the same, and he tried to talk to her. Surprisingly, things became better with Maria, even though not in my case, because she only stopped misbehaving with me and calling me out in public. Well, she only resorted to silence, and Martin did not like it, so he told her to apologize to me. Well, this was another surprise that I was not prepared for. She did that as well, and I was so excited that the dates of the wedding were coming near, and everybody was occupied by that, but one thing that did not skip my mind, and maybe others did to some extent, was Maria's birthday, which was about to happen the very next day. And it's been 2 days since she got discharged from the hospital. You see, it would be better to welcome Maria into our family, so I bought her a present and planned with everyone to be preparing a little surprise party for her. My in-laws were glad to have their normal daughter Maria back after so long that they could not wait to welcome her. And they thanked me for being there for their own daughter when they were out, and I bought a special present for Maria to cheer up her mood. It was a beautiful emerald pendant necklace, which was a little vintage due to its decade-old design, but it seemed quite unique and tasteful. I could perfectly picture Maria wearing that. It seemed like it was made for her. Also, she was fond of materialistic stuff and everything. This would definitely make her happy. At times, I saw her smiling while texting on the phone and just instantly put down my presents. It was a strange move, as if she were planning something, and I could not dare ask questions to her again because I wanted to avoid any trouble. She blew out her candles, made a wish, and cut the cake, and when she unwrapped the gift that was given to her by me, she was just baffled, though I had mistaken it for being awestruck like everybody else. They could not wait to see what was in it, and their faces were so blank and the silence seemed so loud it gave me anxiety. I sensed something went wrong, but she kept it aside and said that she needed to use the restroom. I asked what happened because their reactions were similar. They confessed that the emerald pendant necklace was a gift that reminded her of her past, as it had an uncanny resemblance to that necklace for which she caught shoplifting on the CCTV camera. That video went so viral that it became news, which also got circulated in a local newspaper as well. Her arrest became the talk of the town, which had been exaggerated, and she was bullied in school as well. Well, she ended up getting herself into a fight with them. As a result, her bully was hospitalized and she got rusticated. The damage was done to the extent that they had to send her away to boarding school just to avoid embarrassment, questionable looks, teasing, you name it. It took a serious toll on her mental health, and they were not in a position to forgive her for her deeds. And that's why they gladly sent her away, because of their respectable social image, which she had tarnished. My mother-in-law said that Maria must have gotten triggered, and now she's afraid that she might react adversely to this, because she has a vindictive side to her that they're mostly scared of. But, to my surprise, she returned happily and thanked me for the gift, though she gave me a backhanded compliment over the coincidence of having an unusual talent of making her rethink every time, either by her pregnancy or by reminding her of her past. Well, she also felt the need to return the favor with something special. My in-laws were so happily surprised by such a mild reaction that they did not expect it, and they thought that things might have changed throughout the years. So they resumed their celebration. Update number 3. Hey guys, I cannot tell you how things have gone down the road, but there was no turning back for me, so now I've given up as well. I feel bad for my in-laws, and they have such a toxic daughter like Maria, and now I realize why they lost contact with her when they sent her away to another state. She does not deserve their love, and neither does mine. Well, I revealed her true side and made her aware of the consequences of her actions, so here is how it began. I thought that Maria thing was over by then because it had taken a hell of a lot of my time, and I'd forgotten to focus on my wedding. So from now on, I was completely occupied with my wedding preparations and other arrangements, and in the midst of the business, all of a sudden I found Maria at my door. She greeted me happily and told me to shut my eyes for a while, and she led me somewhere, probably into my backyard, and she handed me something and said, "Surprise!" Well, when I opened up my eyes, there was a really cool car standing in my backyard, and there were keys that she placed in my hand. I was excited to have them, and I could not thank her enough for such a beautiful surprise, though I was a little concerned, to be honest with you. I mean, about how she managed to pull off the amount needed to give me such a gift. She said that the car was second-hand, but it was in pretty good condition, so she got a good deal. The gift was for everything that I've done for her, like helping her get rid of the baby, breaking up her relationship with the bad guy, and giving her such a special necklace, and making efforts to mend the ties with her own family. She could not think of anything less than this. Also, it was wedding time, so it was also included as a wedding gift. I was touched by such a warm gesture and told her that she was a part of the family and should have all the love and affection as compensation for all those years when she stayed away from them. I offered to give her a ride wherever she wanted, and she told me that she would soon get what she wanted, and I didn't have to be worried about it. I didn't get what she meant by that, though. But then I went ahead to take a look at the car. The headlights at the back looked a little cracked, as if they were bumped into something. She apologized and said, she's not a good driver, which is why she hit it lightly while parking it, so hey, I let it go. It was getting late, and I had an appointment with my tailor and had to move and just take a look at the florist shop to finalize my flower decor. So I thought of taking a test drive while I ran my errands. I was on my way, and all of a sudden my car was making these weird noises. So I thought of going to repair it soon because I would be stuck halfway on the road. When I asked for repairs from the guy, he asked me for my VIN number as his record. I didn't know that because it was not visible properly as it was covered in mud, it looked like. I thought of asking Maria, but her call did not pick up. So I thought of searching my dashboard or other things to find it, but I couldn't. The guy started becoming suspicious of me, saying that he did not have a whole day for me and I could have just moved on and get away because a queue was waiting behind me. Embarrassed, I dialed Martin's number, calling him to pick me up, and when he arrived, I told him everything about the cars. When he got to know that it was given to me by Maria, he smelled trouble and tipped the mechanic to run a local check over the car and tell us anything he found suspicious. And it did exactly what Martin suspected. The mechanic ran a local check and said that the car was doubtful because it's probably stolen. Seeing all the signs like tampered VIN, damaged headlight, second-hand stuff, etc., we should contact the police before anything goes wrong. And all of a sudden it hit me. Maria said that she would soon get what she wanted, and now I know that it was all planned and not mistaken at all. Martin thanked him and went to call the police, but furious at Maria's deeds, I stopped Martin and said that I have a better plan this time. Well, we finally managed to drive the car to my place inside the garage and wait for the night. And when it was getting dark, we both drove to her place. When I found them, her apartment lights were on and she was still inside. I drove closer to her building and my sister-in-law, who gifted me a stolen car, to get me arrested before our wedding day. But little did she know I'm aware of her plans. We parked the car right outside her house and I called the police and told them about the suspicious lady driving the car recklessly like she was on some sort of drugs. Martin had no idea what I had in mind. He came out thinking that we would go and talk to Maria, but I stopped him, and we sat inside to hide in his car. I explained how the dots got connected while I was returning to Maria's vehicle. I told him how most of the time I see Maria on a phone call. She hides it from me, and how she talks about getting what she wants. Martin also grew angry, but the look of satisfaction was evident on his face when he saw the cops arrive and arrest Maria. Later on, when her phone call history was checked, she was still involved with her boyfriend, who made her pregnant, and it was found that he had been wanted for a few months by the police. I thought he smuggled drugs, but he had recently switched his profession to car stealing, and it became pretty obvious that the text messages and phone calls that she used to hide from me were with him. And well, he was the one who helped her seek revenge on me. I believe his previous charges and felonies will make things difficult for the both of them. I mean, this is just so bizarre. Maria would go completely out of her way to set OP up with a stolen car, and all this, guys, all this is just because Amber, aka OP, decided to get a necklace, which just so happened to resemble a bad part of Maria's past. And to be honest, guys, it's just a necklace. This did not warrant her to go out and get a stolen vehicle and try to pin it on OP. Luckily, OP is a little smart and did not let this get to her. I want to know your thoughts about this, how it ended, how you thought about the whole story. Drop it down below, and here's the question. If you were in OP's position, would you have done something different? Let me know. My name's Mr. Reddito, and I narrate stories every day, so if you want more daily videos, just hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and remember, it's cool to be kind. See ya.